Hello again. In the last clip we looked at price elasticity of demand. We saw that elasticity means responsiveness. It determines how much demand changes to a given price change. And now we're going to look at the three other measures of elasticity. Price elasticity of supply, income elasticity of demand, and cross elasticity of demand. You may recall that perhaps I think the most important aspect of elasticity is just to remember that formula. Percent change in quantity demanded divided by the percent change in price. Because any single time, as soon as you know that formula, just being given any kind of thing, you can just calculate a percent change in price. If a price has gone up from 70 up to a pound, then you know it's a 30% increase in price. You throw that into and you've given a commensurate fall in demand that's taking place with that rise, and you can just throw the two findings into that formula and it spits out your PED. The exact same thing can be found through the price elasticity of supply, which simply states that if the price that the public is willing to pay for a product goes up, how much more do producers supply in response to that? And we see that the formula for calculating that is very, very similar. If you've got this memorized, you'll see it's very similar. It's percent change in quantity supplied divided by the percent change in price. So you do the exact same thing calculating PES as you do PED, only changing because you're solving for the supply, the change in supply. So that's all it's required. It's the exact same calculation, and when you're given a product and a price change, and you just calculate the percentage change, and you change and the price change to come up with your product. Typically speaking, this is always a positive number. A percent change rise in price will lead to a percent change in output as well. So PES is very, very similar to PED, and it just requires memorizing that formula. Income elasticity of demand, again, very similar again. Note that we use the variable Y to indicate income. That's because in economics the letter I represents imports, something you'll come across in macroeconomics. But YED is the term for the income elasticity of demand. And what we know is that some products respond far more to a rise in income than other products. Some products, if you earn a great deal more money, you're not going to change your consumption. I mean, if you look at consumer staples like milk or toothpaste, if you're earning £1 million a year, you're not going to buy any more toothpaste than if you're earning £20,000 a year. Other products, on the other hand, are very responsive to an income change. Luxury goods particularly, and other sort of consumer desirables like this. So clearly it's important for any manufacturer or producer to be aware of just how responsive his product is given a change in income that's reported. In a recession, in a recessionary environment like we're seeing currently, where incomes are contracting, some producers, like a well-known luxury good producer, a Gianni Versace or Prada or something like that, are going to have to be very concerned that this drop in income is going to lead to a disproportionate drop in the demand for their products. On the other hand, a company like Colgate-Palmolive are going to see a very, very small drop in demand for their toothpaste or other sorts of products like that. The calculation there is the percent change in quantity demanded divided by the percent change in income. So if we see someone's income goes from £50,000 a year up to £100,000 a year, a very large increase in income, we'd like to see, well, how much more does his consumption of say wine go up? And we see that at £50,000 a year he was consuming 10 crates of wine per year, but he's doubled his income and he's now consuming 25 crates of wine per year, and we can see therefore that the percentage change in his consumption of wine has gone up more than his income change. Therefore we see that it's a very elastic response given the increase in income, but conversely we could see a person suffering from a cut in incomes will immediately drop consumption of some products too. So it's just the same formula, just replacing, in this case, income with price. And finally, XED, cross-elasticity of demand. This seeks to solve the question of if the change in demand for one product occurs, how much does that impact another product in joint demand, a complement or a substitute good as it could be. If we see a huge big surge in demand for cinemas, how much demand for popcorn will rise as a result? Sometimes they're one for one, sometimes they're less, sometimes they're more, depending on the product. Sometimes we'll see substitute products. So if we see a huge demand rise, change in price of a good for, say, lamb, if the price of lamb goes up, we'll see a huge increase in the demand for chicken, because we see it's a very elastic response. A slight price in the change of lamb and consumers will quickly go buy another product that's considered to be substitutable, very similar for that. So those are your four main formulas to learn. Percent change in quantity demanded of good X given the percent change in price of good Y is your cross elasticity of demand. Given a change in price of one product, how much does that impact the demand of another product? Those are the four key elasticities to get down pat. As I say, it's very, very simple at the end of the day. You're just being able to calculate percentages and then just dividing one number into another. Don't get too put out by it, because it is simple arithmetic once you've got your head around this idea of responsiveness. Okay?